I go to the Senate, all they need to do is to find somebody who will be sexually harassing me, and then they will suspend me from the Senate, and that will be the end of the story. If I go to become the governor of Ondo State, and I'm doing so well, and the president is not doing so well, all he needs to do is to introduce a Wike into Ondo State, who will come and get the Supreme Court to get a judgment against me, so that I will not be getting state allocations, and that's the end. And it's very difficult to change the destiny of somebody who doesn't see him or herself being beyond certain level. They are the kind of people who ask me, Sowore, why don't you go and become local government chairman? Why don't you go and become senator? Why don't you go and become the governor of your state? The problem I want to solve is not a state-based problem. It's a national problem.
I'm going to start by asking you a question. Do you think Omoyele Sowore has a chance ever becoming the president of Nigeria under this current situation we find ourselves? I'm going to ask the question again. Do you think Omoyele Sowore has a chance of becoming the president of Nigeria under the current condition we find ourselves? And I'm going to talk more about why I asked the question. But before I go into it, please, if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe, and watch this to the end. This is going to be more of a question thing and be more interactive. I mean, with yourselves as well. Okay. Now, the reason why I asked that question is something I think we've all been asking ourselves. Privately, we've been asking the same question, but when we have these deliberations at home, when we look at the people that we currently have who will be running for president come 2027, as Omoyele Sowore has actually indicated that he's actually putting his hat on throwing his hat in for the 2027 election for AAC, I would assume. Do you think, I'm bringing this question out now in the open, I'm bringing it out so we can have this deliberation. So, because we need to take Nigeria in our own hands and then look at the candidates that we have that would help us defeat this aberration called APC and the Tinubu government. Okay, so that's why I'm asking this question. Do you think Omoyele Sowore has a chance of ever becoming the president of Nigeria? Maybe 2027 or maybe beyond, but there's an urgency of having a change of government in 2027 where we need to get rid of APC if we possibly can, if we all can come together and work together to make sure that they don't rig the election, considering the fact that they're looking for replacement for Mahmoud Yakubu at this particular point in time. But the question again still remains the same. Do you think, as you've looked at Omoyele Sowore, you've looked at him, you've analyzed that, you've had conversations at home with your friends, with your family members, you've been on phone calls talking about who can be a better option over Tinubu, and then Omoyele Sowore comes up, and most people just shrug it off and say, well, he's just talking, he's just there. What do you think? So put that in the comment section. Now, by throwing this question open, we're bringing this conversation into the open. Okay, and I want to ask a few other questions. Now, another reason why I said that and I asked this question is we've had in time past where human rights activists, the likes of Gani Fahimi, Femi Falana, the people who have fought for the democracy that we currently have, I've tried before, in the case of Gani Fahimi, I've tried before to contest for election and they've lost. Whether you can argue that the election was rigged or the people didn't vote for them, but they didn't make it in. The corrupt politicians still had their way in, and they still fought, and they still rigged the election, and they still became president and governors. And we have Omoyele Sowore who's vibrant and fighting for human rights and calling out corruption as he sees it. But people like this very rarely have chances of becoming elected officials, whether becoming a governor or president. If you don't want to play ball like them, remember we all thought that Adam Soshomele was for the people until we realized that he was one of them anyway all along. So that's why I'm asking that question. Okay. All right. The other question I want to ask as well is this. Do you think Omoyele Sowore stands a better chance working with Peter Obi to beat Tinubu in 2027? You've asked that question, so I'm asking you now. You've been talking about this in the open because as you hear, I said Omoyele Shorinka, Yele Sowore mentioned that people have asked, why don't you go become your state governor? Why don't you go become a councillor or whatnot, or senator? And he gave a reason why he doesn't want to do that. He says the plan that he has for Nigeria is a national plan. The changes he wants is something nationally, not something that's statewide. So the question now is for the ambition of what he wants in the state. If you think he does not have a chance, if you think he does have a chance, how good is his chance? Or how good are his chances? But if he doesn't have a chance of becoming a president of Nigeria, do you think that if he worked alongside Peter Obi, do you think he has a better chance? Considering the fact that he has the youth on his side, considering the fact that Obi has the numbers on his side, do you think that Omoyele Sowore, putting aside his ambition to become president for now, bearing in mind that we cannot have two people from the south side, from the south, you got to have a northern and a southern ticket together, coming together, president and vice president. You think that if Omoyele Sowore jettisons his decision or ambition to become Nigeria's president and take up a ministerial position with Obi, not that he's not qualified enough, not that he doesn't have the criteria or the credibility enough, he does. But the question is, he doesn't have numbers, and politics is about numbers. So I'm asking this second question again. Do you think Sowore has a better chance of implementing some of these national changes that he wants to make in Nigeria, working alongside Peter Obi? So what is your thought? Put it in the comment section. Now, I said earlier, if you're meeting this content for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. If you've been following, why don't you subscribe now? Follow us and subscribe and then be part of this conversation about the change. But we're going to be putting the candidate out. We're going to play this game ourselves with them because they're playing the game on over us. I put a video earlier about Wike's brag about nobody. He doesn't see anybody defeating them in 2027 because of the kind of forces that they have. And it's the rigging machine with the judiciary, with the police, with INEC. That's what they have. But one thing they don't have is the people. So the question is, how do we galvanize the people to form a system that will be fail-proof, where we can get rid of all these failed politicians? You can see that happening in our legislature, in our judiciary, in our executive. You can see how corrupt they are. So the question is, are we going to start banding together and galvanizing ourselves together and trying to make sure that we put those kind of questions out that are pertinent for the advancement of what we want come 2027? So then a question I have asked as well. What do you think? Do you think that there's a better chance with Omoyele working with Sowore? Because after all, politics is numbers. If it wasn't number, if it was about popularity alone, Tinubu wouldn't have rigged the election, or Mahmoud Yakubu or INEC wouldn't have rigged the election for Tinubu. Do you see where I'm coming from? All right. The other question I want to ask is, what do you think the chances of that ever happening? What do you think the chances of Peter Obi and Omoyele Sowore ever working together? Omoyele Sowore says Peter Obi is one of the elites. He's just a better packager. Do you agree with that? Do you ever think there's a possibility of that ever happening? Because if that's going to be ever possible, if we bring this question out, we can obviously get to work with Omoyele and Peter Obi, because this 2027 election is bigger than that one person. It's bigger than the visions or the dreams of Omoyele Sowore. It's bigger than the vision and the dream of Peter Obi alone. It's a coming together of a force, a greater force than what Wike was trying to sell to those people. Like in the earlier, go and check the other video I put in there, where Wike said no force can stop them at all. Nobody can stop them with the kind of forces they have behind them. So it's a case where we have to then take this question back to both of them and say, can you guys work together? Because this is bigger than your ambition alone. Okay? So I think one of the last question I want to hear, because I don't want to make this thing too long, is do you believe that Omoyele Sowore can put aside his ambition? Put aside his ambition of becoming the president and work with Peter Obi. It feels like a repetition, but knowing that the South-South ticket will not possibly work, but having the ministerial position, do you think that Omoyele Sowore can work with the ministerial position for now, whilst he help make effect some of those changes, some of those things he wants to effect in Nigeria? Now, it's a difficult one, but these are the kind of questions I have always thought about. These are the kind of questions you and I have thought about in our bedroom. We've thought about them in our conversations with our loved ones, with our spouses, with our friends, at the bar where you drink, in church, places like this. When you go do your sport, you finish and look at the nation and you talked about it and say, oh, there's show already, there's Peter Obi. How is that ever going to work? So, but if we bring them all together, Peter Obi has the numbers. Oh, Sowore doesn't have the number. He has the youth, Sowore, but Peter Obi also have the youth too as well. But he still has, he still has better number than Sowore. So the question now is that ever possible? Because when we start to talk about this, we bring it to the forefront. Because what the APC politicians believe is that there's division amongst the youth. Some want Peter Obi, some want Sowore. Others might go vote for a PDP. And with the coalition they're forming with SDP. So the question is, if they all come together with the people, how is it going to ever be possible for them to rig the election, knowing that if they attempt to rig the election, there will be chaos in the country? So I'm asking this question. So Omoyele said that in this opening video where he said it's not about a state solution. He wants what he planned, the plans that he have, or that he has, they are state and federal, beyond the state level. But what are the chances of that ever happening? What are the chances of Sowore ever working with Peter Obi together? Why he puts aside his ambition now and work together with Peter Obi to start this change of Nigeria that we need. Because politics is about numbers. Numbers gave Tinubu the election. They rigged the election because they knew it was a numbers game. The only force that can stop APC is our unification force. All of us Nigerians coming together and saying enough of this criminality called APC and what they will continue. You can see that in our court system, our judiciary. And Dele Faratimi mentioned it as well. We don't have a judiciary. What we have is the arm of the department of the APC. That's what our judiciary has become. Our Supreme Court is non-existent anymore. They just make the rules and then just, make judgment to favor whoever's in power. So we need to help liberate every arm of government from the hands of all these corrupt politicians. So let us know in the comment section what you think about these questions I have asked, because we need to bring them out now in the forefront. We need to do that early enough so that we can start to form the band that can defeat this APC. Because if we go separately, they will win again. But if we come together, where they understand that the people are not voting for them, where they cannot force the market women to go and carry their placard to, as though they're canvassing for Tinubu like they did in the last election in Lagos State, where they forced them that if they don't, support Tinubu, they will shut down their shops. You can see the threat before the people even became president. So you don't expect anything else different. So put that in the comment section. Let us have this chat and we can have this dialogue over. I don't mind doing other videos for us to continue that. With your response, we can continue this conversation. And then hopefully Omoyele Sowore can see this content, this video, and then respond to it. Hopefully Peter Obi can see this video and respond to it. And because we need to help them understand that this is beyond the both of them. Okay, it's for all of us, and they're just the ones in position right now to fill in the gap that is needed right now. So put that in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Like and share as well. And if you're meeting this content for the first time, as I mentioned earlier, please like, share, subscribe. And if you've been following us for a bit and you've not yet subscribed, please do so. We need to advance this country. We need to move the country forward. We need a better country than what we currently have. As always, thank you and God bless you. Bye-bye for now.